In the small town of Pine Creek, where Friday night lights turned the local gymnasium into something close to a cathedral, two boys from opposite sides of the river had become the center of the town's attention. Tyler Reed and Noah Chen had been rivals since they were kids shooting hoops on makeshift backboards. Now, in their senior year of high school, that childhood competition had grown into something the whole county followed like a television drama. Tyler stood at his locker, tossing books inside without much care. His mind was already on practice. Coach had been pushing them harder than usual this week, and for good reason. The championship game against Westridge Academy was only 3 days away. "Ready for another brutal practice?" his friend Miguel asked, leaning against the lockers. "Born ready," Tyler replied with a grin. "Coach can make us run till we drop. Won't change the fact that we're bringing that trophy home." Miguel shook his head. "Man, you know it won't be that easy. Not with Noah playing the way he has been." The mention of Noah's name made Tyler's jaw tighten. He slammed his locker shut with more force than necessary. He got lucky in that game 3 years ago. Not happening again. That game 3 years ago, Tyler couldn't escape it. Freshman year, first time both schools had made it to the finals in the same season. Pine Creek had been up by 1 point with 10 seconds left on the clock. Then Noah, skinny as a rail back then, had stolen the ball, raced down the court, and sunk a three-pointer just as the buzzer sounded. The image of Noah being carried on his teammates' shoulders while Tyler stood watching, stunned and heartbroken, had been printed in the local newspaper. Tyler's dad had it framed in their garage, not as a celebration but as a reminder. "Don't let your guard down, not for a second," his dad would say during their evening practices. Sometimes Tyler wondered if his dad was more invested in beating Noah than he was. The hallway began to fill with students rushing to their next classes. Tyler and Miguel joined the flow, heading toward Mr. Patterson's history class. As they rounded the corner, Tyler nearly collided with someone coming from the opposite direction. "Watch it," he muttered, before looking up to see Noah standing there, backpack slung over one shoulder. Noah raised an eyebrow. "You're the one who wasn't looking." They stood there for a moment, surrounded by the river of students moving around them. Tyler noticed Noah was wearing his Westridge basketball jacket, the school emblem prominent on the chest. Tyler had worn his Pine Creek Letterman jacket too, like two gunslingers with their badges on display. "Save the contact for the court, Reed," Noah said, a slight smirk playing at the corner of his mouth. "Friday night, right?" "Looking forward to it," Tyler replied, his voice steady despite the way his heart had picked up its pace. Noah nodded and continued on his way. Tyler watched him go, noting how other students seemed to part for him, how some called out greetings or offered high fives. Noah had that effect on people. Even here in enemy territory, he carried himself with a confidence that bordered on something like royalty. "That boy acts like he owns the whole county," Miguel muttered as they continued toward class. "Not for long," Tyler said. History class dragged by at a glacial pace. Tyler's leg bounced under his desk as Mr. Patterson lectured about the Civil War. All Tyler could think about was practice, the upcoming game, and the chance to finally set things right. When the bell finally rang, Tyler was the first one out the door. He headed straight for the gym, even though practice wasn't for another 2 hours. The empty court was his favorite place to think. He pushed through the double doors and found the lights already on. The sound of a basketball bouncing echoed throughout the space. Coach Reynolds was working with Zach, their point guard, on some shooting drills. "Tyler, perfect timing," Coach called out. "Come give Zach some defensive pressure." For the next hour, Tyler lost himself in the rhythm of the game. The squeak of sneakers against the polished floor, the solid feel of the ball in his hands, the satisfying swish of the net when he made a perfect shot. This was where he belonged. By the time official practice started, Tyler was already warmed up and focused. Coach gathered the team around, his expression serious. "I don't need to tell you how important Friday's game is," he began, looking each player in the eye. "Westridge has beaten us the last 3 times we faced them. Noah Chen has been averaging 22 points a game this season." Some of the players exchanged glances. Everyone knew about Noah's scoring record, but they're not invincible, Coach continued. "They've got weaknesses. Their center, Diego, tends to get into foul trouble early. Their bench isn't as deep as ours, and Noah can't win the game alone no matter how good he is." Tyler nodded along with the rest of the team. Coach was right. Basketball was a team sport, and Pine Creek had built something special this year. They had chemistry, trust, and hunger. Practice was intense. They ran drill after drill, focusing on defensive rotations and offensive sets designed specifically to counter Westridge's style of play. By the time they finished, every player was drenched in sweat and breathing hard. "Good work today," Coach said as they huddled up. "Tyler, a word before you go." The rest of the team headed for the locker rooms while Tyler stayed behind, grabbing a towel to wipe his face. "What's up, Coach?" Coach Reynolds studied him for a moment. "You've been pushing yourself hard these past few weeks. Harder than anyone." Tyler shrugged. "Just want to be ready. This game means a lot to you, doesn't it? Beyond just winning a championship." Tyler hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, sir," Coach sighed. "I get it. That game 3 years ago was tough. Noah's shot was one for the history books. But I need to make sure your head's in the right place." "What do you mean?" "I mean, are you playing to win or are you playing to beat Noah?" The question caught Tyler off guard. He'd never really separated those two things in his mind. "Because they're not the same thing," Coach continued. "If you're so focused on your rivalry that you lose sight of the team goal, we're all in trouble." Tyler felt a flicker of defensiveness. "I know what's at stake, Coach. I won't let the team down." Coach clapped him on the shoulder. "I know you won't. You're a leader, Tyler. The guys look up to you. Just remember, championships are won by teams, not individuals." After showering and changing, Tyler walked out to the parking lot where his beat-up pickup truck waited. The sun was starting to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. As he climbed into the driver's seat, his phone buzzed with a text from his dad. "How was practice?" Tyler typed back, "Good. Working on defense for Friday." The response came quickly. "Noah scored 28 against Millfield last week. You need to shut him down." Tyler stared at the message but didn't reply. He started the truck and began the drive home, taking the route that crossed over Willow Bridge, which connected the two sides of town. Pine Creek on the east, Westridge on the west. As he drove over the bridge, he glanced toward the river park below. A lone figure was shooting baskets on the public court. Even from this distance, Tyler recognized the smooth, fluid motion of the shot. Noah. Without really thinking about it, Tyler pulled over and parked. He walked down to the court, hands in his pockets. Noah noticed him approaching but continued shooting, sinking basket after basket with machine-like precision. "Spying on the competition?" Noah asked without breaking rhythm. "Just happened to be driving by," Tyler replied, leaning against the fence. "Figured I'd see what all the fuss is about." Noah smiled slightly, dribbling the ball between his legs before taking another shot. The ball arced perfectly and dropped through the net without touching the rim. "You know, my grandfather used to tell me stories about this town before the river divided everything," Noah said, retrieving the ball. "Said people didn't care which side you lived on." "That was a long time ago," Tyler said. "Yeah." Noah spun the ball on his finger. "Now we act like crossing the bridge means entering enemy territory." There was a beat of silence between them, filled only by the distant sound of water flowing and the steady rhythm of Noah's dribbling. "Friday's going to be a good game," Noah said finally. "Yeah, it is." Tyler pushed off from the fence. "May the best team win." Noah caught the ball and held it, looking directly at Tyler. "That's just it, isn't it? The best team, not the best player." Tyler nodded slowly, understanding passing between them. For all their rivalry, they were more alike than different. Two kids who had given everything to the game, whose identities had become wrapped up in who they were on the court. "See you Friday," Tyler said, turning to leave. "Tyler," Noah called after him. He turned back. "Whatever happens, it's just a game, right?" Tyler wanted to agree, but he couldn't bring himself to say the words. For him, for his dad, for the whole town, it had always been more than just a game. As he climbed back into his truck and drove toward home, Tyler wondered if that was the problem all along. The day of the championship arrived with the kind of electricity that only small towns can generate for high school sports. By noon, most businesses in Pine Creek had put up signs in their windows. "Go Panthers," or "Beat Westridge." The diner on Main Street even created a special menu item called the Championship Burger, promising it would slam dunk your taste buds. Tyler barely touched his breakfast that morning. His stomach was too knotted with anticipation. His dad, on the other hand, couldn't stop talking. "Remember what we practiced," his dad said, sipping his coffee. "Noah likes to drive right, then pull up for that mid-range jumper. Don't give him that space." "I know, Dad," Tyler replied, pushing his eggs around his plate. "And don't forget, when you're bringing the ball up. Dad, Tyler interrupted, looking up. I've got this. His father paused, then nodded. I know you do, son. He trailed off, staring into his mug. I just want this for you. Tyler softened. I know. I want it too. His phone buzzed with a text from Miguel. Dude, school is crazy today. Everyone's wearing blue and white. Even the teachers. School was indeed a sea of Pine Creek blue and white. The hallways were decorated with streamers, and someone had painted a giant panther paw on a banner that hung in the main entrance. Even teachers who usually enforced strict dress codes were sporting team colors. Principal Walsh stopped Tyler in the hallway between classes. Big day, Reed. The whole town's going to be there tonight. Yes, sir, Tyler replied. No pressure, the principal said with a smile that suggested exactly the opposite. Each class dragged by more slowly than the last. In chemistry, Tyler's lab partner knocked over a beaker because he was too busy talking about the game to pay attention to what he was doing. In English, Ms. Chen, no relation to Noah, as she always clarified, tried to discuss The Great Gatsby, but ended up allowing the last 15 minutes for a pep rally discussion. By the time the final bell rang, Tyler felt like he'd been holding his breath all day. He headed straight for the gym, where Coach Reynolds had told the team to gather 2 hours before game time. The locker room was unusually quiet as everyone got ready. The normal jokes and horsing around were replaced with focused silence. Each player seemed lost in their own thoughts, mentally preparing for what lay ahead. Coach gathered them in a circle once they were dressed. I'm not going to give some long speech about how this is the most important game of your lives, he said. Because it's not. You'll all go on to do bigger and better things than win a high school basketball game. A few players exchanged surprised glances. But, Coach continued, what I will say is that tonight is special, not because of what it means for your basketball careers, but because of what it means for this team, this group right here. He looked around at each of their faces. We've put in the work. We've become a family. Now go out there and play like one. As they broke the huddle with a loud family chant, Tyler felt a calm settle over him. Coach was right. Whatever happened tonight, these were his brothers. They walked out for warm-ups to find the gym already half full an hour before tip-off. By the time they returned to the locker room for final preparations, the roar from outside told them the place was packed to capacity. Tyler peeked out and scanned the crowd. He spotted his parents in their usual seats behind the Pine Creek bench. His dad gave him a thumbs up. In the opposite stands, a sea of Westridge red and gold filled the visitor section. The two sides of the town divided by team colors just as they were divided by the river. When they finally took the court for player introductions, the noise was deafening. The announcer's voice boomed over the speakers, but Tyler could barely hear the names being called. When it was his turn, he ran through the tunnel of teammates, giving each a high five before taking his place in the starting lineup. Across the center circle stood Noah, his expression calm and focused. Their eyes met briefly, and Noah gave a slight nod of acknowledgement. Tyler returned it. For all their rivalry, there was respect there too. The referee's whistle cut through the noise and the ball went up. The game had begun. From the opening tip, it was clear this would be no ordinary contest. Both teams played with an intensity that had the crowd on their feet from the start. Pine Creek's defense was smothering, forcing Westridge into tough shots and early turnovers. But Westridge's speed in transition kept them in it, with Noah leading fast breaks that resulted in easy layups. By the end of the first quarter, Pine Creek led 18-16. Coach Reynolds pulled Tyler aside during the break. You're doing great on Noah, he said. Keep bodying him up when he drives, but watch the fouls. Tyler nodded, catching his breath. Noah had only scored 4 points, well below his average, but Tyler knew better than to get comfortable. Noah was just warming up. The second quarter proved him right. Noah started hitting shots from everywhere, fadeaways with defenders in his face, deep three-pointers that silenced the Pine Creek crowd. Tyler stuck to him like glue, but sometimes great players just make great plays. Don't let it get to you, Miguel told Tyler after Noah sank his third straight basket. Just keep making him work for it. By halftime, Westridge had pulled ahead 42-38. The Pine Creek locker room was tense during the break. Coach Reynolds made adjustments to their defensive scheme, suggesting they throw occasional double teams at Noah to get the ball out of his hands. And Tyler, Coach added, you need to be more aggressive on offense. They're so focused on stopping Miguel that you've got opportunities. Take them. The third quarter was a back-and-forth battle. Tyler found his rhythm on offense, driving to the basket and drawing fouls. Noah continued his scoring barrage, but the double teams forced him to give up the ball more often. Some of his teammates stepped up while others wilted under the pressure. With 1 minute left in the third, Pine Creek had fought back to take a 1-point lead. 58-57. The crowd was going wild with every possession. Tyler felt his legs growing heavy, but the adrenaline kept him moving. As Noah brought the ball up court, Tyler picked him up at half court. He could see the fatigue in Noah's face too, the slight slump in his shoulders, the deeper breaths. They were both running on empty, giving everything they had. Noah tried a crossover, but Tyler stayed with him. Frustrated, Noah passed to his teammate Diego, who immediately gave it back. The clock was winding down on the quarter. Noah jab-stepped, then pulled up for a three-pointer. Tyler's hand was right in his face, but the ball arced perfectly and swished through the net, just as the buzzer sounded. The Westridge fans erupted. Noah pumped his fist as he jogged back to his bench. Westridge now led 60-58 heading into the final quarter. "Don't hang your head," Coach told Tyler. "You defended that perfectly. Sometimes they just make the shot anyway." The fourth quarter began with both teams trading baskets. No one could pull away. With 4 minutes left, the score was tied at 68. The timeout calls became more frequent as both coaches tried to manage the game down to the smallest detail. Each possession felt like it carried the weight of the entire season. With 2 minutes remaining, Westridge held a slim 73-72 lead. Tyler found himself with the ball at the top of the key, Noah guarding him closely. The crowd noise swelled as Tyler made his move, driving right before spinning back left for a layup that put Pine Creek ahead by 1. The Pine Creek fans went crazy, stomping their feet so hard the bleachers shook. On the next possession, Noah answered with a driving layup of his own, drawing a foul in the process. He made the free throw, putting Westridge back up by 2. The teams continued trading leads. With 30 seconds left, Pine Creek was down by 1, 78-77. Coach Reynolds called timeout to set up a play. "All right, here's what we're doing," he said, drawing on his whiteboard. "Miguel, you set a screen for Tyler at the elbow. Tyler, you come off that screen looking to drive. If they collapse, kick it to Zach in the corner for 3. If not, take it to the rim." Tyler nodded, his heart pounding in his chest. This was the moment he'd dreamed of. The chance to rewrite the ending from 3 years ago. As they broke the huddle, his dad caught his eye from the stands and gave him a solemn nod. The weight of expectation pressed down on Tyler's shoulders, but he took a deep breath and stepped back onto the court. The referee handed the ball to Zach for the inbound pass. Tyler curled around Miguel's screen, catching the ball at the top of the key. Just as Coach had predicted, Noah fought through the screen to stay with him. Tyler faked right, then drove left, seeing a small opening in the defense. As he approached the basket, time seemed to slow down. He could feel Noah on his hip trying to recover. He could see Diego rotating over to help, a step too late. The rim was right there, the path clear for what would be the go-ahead layup with under 20 seconds to play. And then, from the corner of his eye, Tyler saw something that made his blood run cold. Noah had suddenly pulled up, clutching at his chest. His face contorted in pain as he staggered sideways, reaching out to grab the scorer's table for support but missing. No one else seemed to notice as all eyes followed the ball and Tyler's drive to the basket. In that split second, Tyler had to make a choice: continue to the rim for the potential game-winning shot, or the moment stretched like taffy in Tyler's mind. The basket was right there, unguarded now that Noah had fallen behind. His teammates were already positioning for rebounds. The crowd's roar built in anticipation. This was the shot he'd pictured making thousands of times in his driveway. The redemption he'd been chasing for 3 years, but Noah's face, twisted in pain, flashed in as many. Again, without thinking further, Tyler threw the ball out of bounds. "Time out," he shouted, waving frantically at the referees, who looked confused. The crowd's cheers turned to bewildered murmurs as Tyler ran back toward center court. Noah had crumpled to his knees, one hand still clutching his chest. A few people in the front row had finally noticed something was wrong, but most eyes had been following Tyler's drive to the basket. "Noah," Tyler called out, dropping down beside him. "What's going on? Can you breathe?" Noah's eyes were wide with fear. He tried to speak but could only manage a strained wheeze. His lips had taken on a bluish tint, "We need help over here," Tyler yelled, looking around desperately. "Something's wrong." The gym fell suddenly quiet as people began to realize what was happening. Coach Reynolds was the first to reach them, followed closely by the Westridge coach. "What happened?" Coach asked, kneeling down. "I don't know," Tyler said. He just grabbed his chest and went down. The school nurse pushed through the small crowd that had gathered. "Give him space," she ordered. "Someone call 911. Tyler backed up slightly but stayed close. The nurse checked Noah's pulse, her expression growing increasingly concerned. "His heart rate is irregular and much too fast," she said. "I've got Dr. Wilson on the phone," someone called out. "He's asking what's happening." The nurse took the phone and began describing Noah's symptoms. After a moment, she looked up at the coaches. "Dr. Wilson says this could be a cardiac event. We need to start CPR if he loses consciousness, and we need a defibrillator if you have one on site." Tyler's mind flashed back to the CPR training he'd taken last summer to be a lifeguard at the community pool. He remembered the instructor's words. "In a real emergency, people often freeze. Don't be that person." "I'm certified," he said, stepping forward. "If you need help." The nurse nodded, still monitoring Noah, who remained conscious but struggling. The athletic trainer ran in with the school's AED kit, setting it down beside them. "The ambulance is on its way," Principal Walsh announced. "They're about 8 minutes out." 8 minutes. Tyler remembered another statistic from his training. For every minute without proper blood flow, the chance of survival drops by 10%. The crowd had backed away, giving them room. Tyler could see the fear on the faces of Noah's teammates. He spotted Diego, Noah's best friend, being held back by an assistant coach, tears streaming down his face. "What can I do?" Tyler asked the nurse. "Stay with him, talk to him," she replied, preparing the AED. "Keep him calm and conscious if you can." Tyler knelt back down beside Noah, who was lying flat now, the nurse having eased him onto his back. His breathing was shallow and labored. "Hey," Tyler said, trying to keep his voice steady. "The ambulance is coming. Just hang in there, okay?" Noah's eyes found his, filled with panic and something else. Recognition. Despite everything happening around them, a moment of connection passed between the two rivals. "Never thought." Noah managed to gasp. "You'd be the one saving me." "Don't talk," Tyler said. "Save your strength." Noah shook his head slightly. "If I don't make it—" "Stop that," Tyler interrupted. "You're going to be fine." The nurse was attaching the AED pads to Noah's chest now. "His pulse is getting weaker," she said. "We may need to shock him." Tyler had never felt so helpless. All his basketball skills, all his training for the big moments, none of it prepared him for watching someone fight for their life right in front of him. "Tyler," Noah whispered, his voice barely audible. "Tell my mom." But before he could finish, his eyes rolled back and his body went limp. "He's unresponsive," the nurse announced, starting CPR. She began chest compressions while the AED analyzed Noah's heart rhythm. Tyler watched in stunned silence as the machine charged. "Clear," the nurse called. Everyone backed away as Noah's body jerked from the electric shock. The gym was eerily silent except for the sound of the nurse counting compressions. 1 minute passed, then 2. The AED delivered another shock. Tyler found himself holding his breath, willing Noah's heart to restart. After what felt like an eternity, Noah gasped and his eyes fluttered open. A collective sigh of relief swept through the gym. "He's back," the nurse said, checking his pulse again. "Still irregular, but stronger." Just then the paramedics burst through the gym doors, wheeling a stretcher. They quickly took over, attaching monitors and starting an IV. Tyler stepped back, suddenly aware of the crowd around them, the abandoned basketball game, the scoreboard still showing Westridge up by 1 with 25 seconds left. None of it seemed to matter anymore. Coach Reynolds appeared at Tyler's side, putting an arm around his shoulders. "You did good, son," he said quietly. Tyler watched as the paramedics prepared to move Noah to the ambulance. "Is he going to be okay?" "They don't know yet," Coach replied honestly. "But you gave him his best chance. If you hadn't noticed," he didn't need to finish the sentence. They both knew what might have happened if Tyler had continued to the basket. If those precious seconds had ticked by with no one realizing Noah was in trouble. Noah's parents had arrived from the stands and were talking with the paramedics, their faces pale with worry. His mother was crying, while his father maintained a stoic expression that barely masked his fear. As they wheeled Noah toward the exit, his hand suddenly shot out, reaching toward Tyler. Without hesitation, Tyler stepped forward and took it. "Thanks," Noah managed weakly. "You're going to be fine," Tyler said, squeezing his hand. "I'll come see you at the hospital." Noah nodded slightly before the paramedics continued toward the doors. The crowd parted to let them through, many people wiping away tears or standing in shocked silence. After they left, Principal Walsh took the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, in light of what's happened, the remainder of tonight's game will be postponed. Please exit the gymnasium in an orderly fashion." No one protested. The outcome of a basketball game suddenly seemed trivial compared to what they just witnessed. Tyler stood in the middle of the court, still trying to process everything. His teammates gathered around him, patting him on the back or simply standing in solidarity. Miguel was the first to speak. "You saw something was wrong when no one else did," he said. "How?" Tyler shook his head. "I don't know. I just happened to look back and—" He trailed off, remembering the split-second decision, the ball leaving his hands, flying out of bounds instead of toward the basket. "You threw away the winning shot," another teammate, Ben, said. "It wasn't an accusation, just a statement of fact." "I didn't think about it," Tyler admitted. "It just wasn't important anymore." Coach gathered the team together. "I know everyone's shaken up," he said. "We'll talk about the game later. For now, go home, be with your families. We'll get updates on Noah's condition as they come in." As the team dispersed, Tyler's parents approached. His mother immediately pulled him into a tight hug, tears in her eyes. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. His father stood back slightly, his expression unreadable. Tyler braced himself, half expecting to hear about the missed opportunity, the abandoned game-winning shot. Instead, his dad simply put a hand on his shoulder. "You made the right call," he said quietly. "Basketball's just a game." Coming from his father, those words meant everything. Tyler nodded, too emotional to speak. As they walked toward the exit, Tyler was stopped repeatedly by people wanting to shake his hand or pat him on the back. Even Westridge fans approached him, thanking him through tears. One elderly man gripped his hand tightly and said, "I've watched basketball in this town for 50 years, son. Never seen anything as brave as what you did tonight." Outside the gym, Tyler spotted Diego getting into a car, presumably heading to the hospital. He jogged over. "Hey," he called. "Let me know how he's doing, okay?" Diego looked at him with red-rimmed eyes. "You want to come with us?" "I know he'd want you there." Tyler glanced back at his parents, who nodded their understanding. "I'll meet you there," Tyler told them. "I need to do this." The drive to the hospital was silent. Diego stared out the window while his mother focused on the road. Tyler sat in the back seat watching the familiar streets of Pine Creek pass by. They crossed Willow Bridge, the same spot where he'd seen Noah practicing alone just days ago. "He has a heart condition," Diego finally said, breaking the silence. "Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. He was diagnosed last year, but the doctors cleared him to play with medication. No one outside his family and a couple of coaches knew." Tyler absorbed this information with shock. All this time he was playing with a heart condition? Diego nodded. He didn't want anyone to know. Didn't want to be treated differently. But the risk? He said basketball was worth the risk, Diego replied. That's who he is. Tyler fell silent again, thinking about all the times he'd faced Noah on the court, never knowing what his rival was carrying with him. The extra weight that had nothing to do with basketball. As they pulled into the hospital parking lot, Tyler's phone buzzed with messages. News about Noah had spread throughout both schools, throughout the whole town. Everyone wanted to know how he was doing. A few messages from his teammates asked about the game, whether it would be rescheduled, what this meant for the championship. Tyler ignored them all. Right now, only one thing mattered. Noah needed to be okay. In the waiting room, Noah's PA. Rents sat huddled together, speaking in low voices with a doctor. Tyler hung back, suddenly feeling out of place. What was he doing here? He wasn't family. He wasn't even really Noah's friend. He was just the guy who'd been trying to beat him for the past 4 years. And yet when Noah's mother looked up and saw him, her face transformed. She crossed the room and embraced him without a word. When she finally pulled back, she cupped his face in her hands. The doctor said if CPR hadn't started when it did, she couldn't finish the sentence, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. How is he? Tyler asked. Stable, she replied. They're running tests. They think They think he might need surgery. Noah's father approached, extending his hand. "Thank you," he said simply, his voice thick with emotion. Tyler nodded, unable to find words that seemed adequate. A nurse appeared at the waiting room door. "Family can see him now," she announced. "Two at a time, please." As Noah's parents followed the nurse, his mother turned back to Tyler. "He'll want to see you too," she said. "Wait here?" "I'll wait," Tyler promised. He sank into a chair beside Diego, the weight of the evening finally hitting him. His muscles ached, partly from the game and partly from the tension of the last hour. The championship that had seemed so important this morning now felt like something from another lifetime. His phone buzzed again. This time it was Coach Reynolds. "The school board and both coaches have decided there will be no makeup game. The championship will be shared between both schools this year. First time in county history. How's Noah?" Tyler stared at the message for a long moment. Then he typed back, "I'm stable. They're running tests, shared championship." Any other day it might have felt like a disappointment. Tonight it felt exactly right. The hospital waiting room clock ticked past midnight. Tyler sat slumped in an uncomfortable plastic chair, staring at the pale green wall across from him. Diego had fallen asleep 2 seats away, his jacket bunched up as a makeshift pillow. Other players from Westridge had come and gone, along with a few teachers and coaches, but Tyler stayed. His parents had left an hour ago, after making sure he had a ride home. "Call us when you're ready," his mom had said, hugging him tight. "No matter what time." The double doors to the emergency ward swung open and Noah's father emerged, looking exhausted. Tyler straightened up immediately. "He's awake," Noah's father said, a tired smile crossing his face. "And asking for you." Tyler stood, suddenly nervous. "Is that okay? I mean, it's late and he needs rest." "The doctor says just a few minutes," Noah's father replied, gesturing toward the doors. "He was pretty insistent about seeing you." Tyler followed him through the maze of hospital corridors, the antiseptic smell making his nose wrinkle. They stopped outside a room where a nurse was checking various monitors attached to Noah, who lay propped up slightly on a hospital bed. When Noah spotted Tyler at the door, he lifted his hand in a weak wave. The nurse finished her checks and left, giving Tyler a small smile as she passed. "I'll be right outside," Noah's father said, squeezing Tyler's shoulder before stepping away to join his wife in the hallway. Tyler moved to the side of the bed, unsure what to say. Up close, Noah looked pale and fragile, so different from the confident player who dominated the court just hours earlier. "You look terrible," Noah said, his voice hoarse but with a hint of his usual humor. Tyler let out a surprised laugh. "You're one to talk." Noah's smile faded. "They told me what you did, how you stopped the game when everyone else was watching the ball." Tyler shrugged, uncomfortable with the gratitude in Noah's eyes. Anyone would have done the same. "But they didn't," Noah said simply. "You did." A moment of silence stretched between them. Through the window, Tyler could see the lights of Pine Creek glittering in the distance. "So?" Tyler said finally. "Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy." Noah sighed. "Yeah, found out last year after I passed out during a summer workout. Doctors said I could play with medication, but there was always a small risk." He looked down at his hands. "Guess the risk caught up with me. Why didn't you tell anyone? And be what? The sick kid everyone feels sorry for? The player the other team goes easy on?" Noah shook his head. "No thanks. Basketball was the one place where I was just me, not a condition." Tyler understood more than he expected to. Wasn't that why he played too? To be defined by what he could do, not by where he lived or who his family was or any of the other labels the town stuck on him. "What happens now?" Tyler asked. "Surgery, probably," Noah replied. "Then a lot of rehab. No basketball for a while, maybe ever." The words hung heavy in the air. No basketball. For someone whose identity was so wrapped up in the game, it was a devastating prospect. "I heard about the shared championship," Noah said after a moment. "First time ever, huh?" Tyler nodded. "Yeah, feels right, though. Would have been yours outright if you'd taken that shot." "You don't know that," Tyler said. "You've blocked plenty of my shots before." Noah laughed, then winced as the movement pulled at the IV in his arm. "True, but you had a clear path. I saw it just before." He gestured vaguely at his chest. "Doesn't matter now," Tyler said firmly. "It matters to me," Noah insisted. "Because I need to know. Did you do it because it was the right thing to do or because it was me?" The question caught Tyler off guard. What do you mean? I mean, would you have stopped for anyone? Or was it different because we have history? Tyler considered it honestly. I don't know, he admitted. I'd like to think I would have stopped for anyone. But with you, I guess there's more to it. He struggled to find the right words. It's like, when you compete with someone for so long, there's a connection there. Even if you're not friends. Noah nodded slowly. I get that. It's like you're the only two people who really understand what the other has put into it. Exactly, Tyler said, relieved that Noah understood. So what happens when one of us can't compete anymore? Noah asked quietly. The question hung between them. Tyler had no answer. A nurse appeared at the doorway. I'm sorry, but he needs to rest now. Tyler nodded. I'll come back tomorrow if that's okay. Yeah, Noah said. Bring me some decent food. This hospital stuff is worse than the cafeteria at Westridge. Tyler laughed. Deal. As he turned to leave, Noah called after him. Tyler, don't let up just because I'm out. Someone's got to keep setting records for me to break when I get back. Tyler didn't have the heart to point out that when might be if. Instead, he just nodded. Count on it. Outside in the corridor, Noah's parents thanked him again. His mother hugged him, and this time his father did too. He's lucky to have you as a friend, his mother said, seeming to search for the right word. Friend. Was that what they were now? Tyler wasn't sure, but he didn't correct her. Diego's mom drove Tyler home, the car quiet in the early morning darkness. When they pulled up to his house, Diego spoke for the first time since leaving the hospital. You know, he never hated you, Diego said. He respected you. Said you made him better. Tyler nodded, unsure how to respond. Same, he finally said. Tell him I'll see him tomorrow. The house was dark when Tyler entered, but he found his father sitting at the kitchen table, a mug of cold coffee in front of him. You're still up? Tyler said. Surprised, couldn't sleep, his dad replied. How is he? Stable. They're talking about surgery. Tyler slumped into a chair across from his father. He might not play again. His father was quiet for a moment. That's a tough break for a talented kid. Yeah. Tyler stared at the table, tracing a scratch in the wood with his finger. Dad, when you said basketball is just a game, did you mean it? His father sighed deeply. I did. Took me too long to figure that out, though. He looked up, meeting Tyler's eyes. I pushed you hard. Maybe too hard sometimes. You wanted me to be the best, Tyler said. I wanted you to love the game like I did, his father corrected. But tonight, watching you throw away that shot without hesitation to help someone, he shook his head, a small smile on his face, made me realize you're better than I ever was. Not as a player. As a person. Tyler swallowed hard against the sudden tightness in his throat. Get some sleep, his father said, standing and squeezing Tyler's shoulder as he passed. Tomorrow's going to be a busy day. He had no idea how right he was. Tyler woke to the sound of his phone buzzing repeatedly. Groggy, he reached for it, squinting at the screen. Multiple text messages, missed calls, and social media notifications flashed across the display. The oldest was from Miguel. Dude, have you seen the news? You're everywhere. Confused, Tyler sat up and scrolled through the messages. Someone had recorded the moment when he abandoned his shot and ran to help Noah. The video had gone viral overnight, spreading from local news to national sports channels and social media platforms. Local basketball star gives up championship shot to save rival, read one headline. True sportsmanship, high school player chooses life over glory, read another. Tyler stared at his phone in disbelief. There were messages from people he'd never met. Reporters asking for interviews, even a text from a college coach who'd been scouting both him and Noah. Mom? Dad? He called out, padding downstairs in his pajamas. He found them in the living room watching the local news. On screen was footage from the game, followed by a reporter standing outside the high school. An act of heroism and sportsmanship that has captured the attention of the entire country, the reporter was saying. Tyler Reed, who had a clear path to a game-winning layup, instead threw the ball out of bounds and rushed to help Noah Chen, who was suffering a cardiac event on the court. Doctors credit Reed's quick action with saving Chen's life. Tyler stood frozen in the doorway. This couldn't be happening. His mother spotted him and jumped up. Oh, honey, isn't it amazing? Everyone's talking about what you did. I don't understand, Tyler said weakly. Why is this such a big deal? I just did what anyone would do. But that's just it, his father said, turning down the volume on the TV. It's not what everyone would do. Not in that moment with everything on the line. Tyler's phone rang again. Miguel. He answered, still trying to process everything. Dude. Miguel's excited voice came through the speaker. Have you seen it? You're trending on like every platform. I just woke up, Tyler said. This is crazy. Principal Walsh called an assembly for this afternoon, Miguel continued. The mayor's coming. They want to honor you or something. What? No, Tyler rubbed his face. I'm going to the hospital to see Noah. I don't need some ceremony. Well, you might want to prepare yourself, Miguel warned. There's reporters outside the school already. I bet they find your house soon, too. As if on cue, Tyler heard a car door slam outside. He peeked through the window blinds to see a news van parking across the street. I gotta go, he told Miguel. This is insane. His father joined him at the window. I'll handle them, he said. You go out the back and take my truck. Go see Noah. Tyler nodded gratefully. Thanks, Dad. By the time Tyler arrived at the hospital, he'd received dozens more messages. His email inbox, rarely used except for school assignments, was flooded. Even Coach Reynolds had texted. Proud doesn't begin to cover it, son. Take the day. We'll deal with the circus. The hospital lobby was busier than the night before, and Tyler immediately spotted a few people with cameras. Keeping his head down, he made his way to the elevator and up to Noah's floor. Outside Noah's room, a security guard checked his name against a list before letting him in. Inside, he found Noah sitting up in bed, looking slightly better than the night before, though still pale. A tablet computer lay on his lap, open to a news website featuring the same video Tyler had seen earlier. There he is, Noah said, looking up with a grin. The hero of Pine Creek and Westridge, Tyler groaned. Not you too. Hey, I'm just the guy who had the good sense to collapse at the right dramatic moment, Noah joked. You're the one who went viral. Tyler sank into the chair beside the bed. It's ridiculous. I didn't do anything special. That's where you're wrong, Noah said, his tone turning serious. You did something that most people wouldn't do. Something I'm not sure I would have done in your position. Tyler looked up, surprised. I've been thinking about it all morning, Noah continued. If our situations were reversed, I don't know if I would have seen you. I was so focused on winning for so long. We both were, Tyler said. Yeah, but you broke free of it when it mattered. Noah set the tablet aside. The doctors came by this morning. They're scheduling the surgery for tomorrow. Some kind of procedure to regulate my heart rhythm. That's good, right? Yeah, but they also made it official. No more competitive basketball. Noah's voice was steady, but Tyler could see the pain in his eyes. Too much strain on my heart. Tyler didn't know what to say. No words seemed adequate. I'm still trying to process it, Noah admitted. Basketball was my ticket out of here, you know? Scout from State University was coming to the championship game now. He shrugged. Now I need a new plan. You'll figure it out, Tyler said. You're more than just a basketball player. Noah smiled slightly. That's the thing. Until yesterday, I'm not sure I believed that. But seeing everyone here, all the messages, he gestured to flowers and cards that filled the windowsill. Makes me think maybe I was wrong. They sat in companionable silence for a moment. Your parents here? Tyler asked. Cafeteria. Mom hasn't slept. Dad's trying to convince her to go home for a few hours. Noah picked at a loose thread on his blanket. Hey, I've been meaning to ask you something. That summer when we were 12 at basketball camp? Why'd you put glue in my sneakers? Tyler blinked, caught off guard by the sudden change in topic. What, I never did that. Noah stared at him. Seriously? Someone told me it was you. No way, Tyler insisted. I thought you were the one who switched the salt and sugar in the dining hall, which got me in trouble. That wasn't me either. Noah laughed, then winced, pressing a hand to his chest. Ow, don't make me laugh. You think we've been mad at each other all these years over stuff neither of us did? Tyler asked incredulously. Wouldn't that be something? Noah shook his head. We wasted a lot of time hating each other. We didn't waste it, Tyler said thoughtfully. All that competition made us better players. Better people too, maybe. Noah considered this. Maybe you're right. He looked out the window toward the town they both called home. What happens now? It was the same question he'd asked the night before, but somehow it felt different in the light of day. Less about basketball, more about everything else, I don't know, Tyler admitted. But I think it might be something good. Tyler woke before his alarm the next morning. Sleep had been hard to come by. his mind racing with thoughts of Noah's upcoming surgery and the strange new reality where he was somehow being called a hero. He stared at the ceiling, watching the early morning light creep across it as he tried to make sense of everything. His phone buzzed with a text from Coach Reynolds. Meeting at school. Thursday 30 a.m. Both teams, both coaches, important. Tyler frowned at the message. What could be so important that both Pine Creek and Westridge teams needed to meet? He typed back a quick "I'll be there" before rolling out of bed. The house was quiet as he got ready. His parents were still asleep after their own late-night fielding calls from relatives and neighbors. Tyler slipped out without waking them, climbing into his truck and heading toward school. The parking lot was unusually busy for so early in the morning. Tyler recognized cars belonging to his teammates as well as several unfamiliar vehicles that must belong to Westridge players. As he approached the gym entrance, he spotted Miguel waiting for him. "Any idea what this is about?" Tyler asked. Miguel shrugged. "No clue, but both teams in one place? This should be interesting." They walked into the gym together. The scene inside was something Tyler never expected to see. Pine Creek players on one side of the center circle, Westridge players on the other, with Coach Reynolds and Coach Garcia from Westridge standing together in the middle. The mood was subdued, none of the usual tension that came with these two teams sharing a space. "Reed's here," someone announced, and all heads turned toward him. Coach Reynolds waved him over. "Now that everyone's here, we can get started," he said. "Coach Garcia and I called this meeting because, well, there's been a development." Coach Garcia stepped forward. "As you all know, Noah is having surgery today. The shared championship was a solution for an unprecedented situation. But last night, Noah asked me to deliver a message to all of you." He pulled out his phone and tapped the screen, then held it up. Noah's voice filled the gym. "Hey everyone, sorry I can't be there in person. If you're hearing this, I'm probably being prepped for surgery right now. First, I want to thank everyone for the messages and support. It means more than you know. But I've been thinking about the championship and I don't want a shared title. Pine Creek earned that win. When the game stopped, they were about to go ahead with 20 seconds left. Tyler had a clear path to the basket. We all know what would have happened next." There was a pause on the recording. Tyler looked around the gym, seeing mixed reactions on the faces of players from both teams. "Basketball has been my whole life," Noah's voice continued. "But what happened Friday night put things in perspective. There are more important things than trophies. So I'm asking the league to award the championship to Pine Creek. They deserve it. And Tyler, thanks for seeing me when no one else did. I owe you one." The recording ended, leaving the gym in silence. Coach Garcia put his phone away and looked around at the stunned faces. "Noah recorded that from his hospital bed last night," he explained. "He was very insistent." Coach Reynolds cleared his throat. "We brought you all together because we wanted to be transparent. The league officials are meeting this morning to discuss Noah's request. But that's not fair to Westridge," Tyler blurted out, surprising himself and everyone else. "You guys played your hearts out. The game wasn't over." Diego, standing with the other Westridge players, stepped forward. "Noah's right, though. You were about to score. We all saw it." "You don't know that for sure," Tyler argued. "Someone could have made a defensive play. There could have been a turnover. 20 seconds is a lot of time in basketball." The gym broke into murmurs as players from both teams began discussing the situation. Coach Reynolds held up his hands for quiet. "There's something else," he said once everyone had settled down. "The video of what happened has caught the attention of the State High School Athletic Association. They want to recognize both teams at the state finals next weekend." This announcement caused another stir of conversation. The state finals were a big deal, usually attended by scouts from colleges across the region. "What kind of recognition?" Miguel asked. "A special sportsmanship award," Coach Garcia replied. "They want both teams on the court at halftime. Tyler, they specifically want you to speak." Tyler felt his stomach drop. Speak in front of everyone? No way. "You don't have to decide right now," Coach Reynolds assured him, "but it would mean a lot. To the school, to the community, and especially to Noah." As the meeting broke up, players from both teams lingered, talking in small mixed groups instead of separating as they normally would. Tyler found himself surrounded by Westridge players, all wanting to ask about Noah's condition or share their thoughts on what had happened. Diego pulled him aside. "Noah's surgery is scheduled for noon today. A bunch of us are going to the hospital to wait with his parents. You should come." "I will," Tyler promised. I just need to do something first. After the other players had left, Tyler approached both coaches. I think I have an idea. About the championship. They listened as he outlined his plan, nodding thoughtfully as he spoke. When he finished, Coach Reynolds smiled. It might just work, he said. Let me make some calls. Tyler spent the rest of the morning at home, ignoring the journalists who had gathered at the end of his driveway. His mother fielded phone calls while his father helped him work through what he wanted to say at the state finals, if he decided to go through with it. Just speak from the heart, his father advised. That's all anyone can ask. At 11:30, Tyler headed to the hospital. The crowd in the waiting room had grown since his last visit, now including not just Westridge players but several of his own teammates as well. Miguel gave him a fist bump as he entered. Any news? Tyler asked. They just took him back for pre-op, Diego reported. His parents are with him now. Surgery should start in about half an hour. The waiting began. Minutes crawled by, feeling like hours. People talked quietly or stared at their phones. Some prayed. Noah's mother returned to the waiting room, her eyes red-rimmed but dry now. She sat between Diego and Tyler, occasionally squeezing their hands when the worry became too much to bear silently. Around 1 o'clock, Tyler's phone rang. It was Coach Reynolds. It's all set, the coach said. The league agreed to your proposal. We're making the announcement at 3 o'clock at the school. Can you be there? What about Noah? Tyler asked. We won't know anything by then. His parents can stay, of course, but I think it would mean a lot if both teams were represented. Tyler looked around at the mixed group of players from rival schools, all united in their concern for Noah. I'll ask everyone. I think most of us will come. When he explained the situation, there was some reluctance to leave before hearing about Noah's surgery, but Noah's mother settled the matter. Go, she insisted. I'll call the second we hear anything. Noah would want you all to be there for this. With that reassurance, most of the players agreed to attend the announcement. They traveled to Pine Creek High School in a caravan of cars. Pine Creek and Westridge athletes mixed together. The rivalry that had defined them for so long temporarily set aside. The school gym was packed when they arrived. News crews had set up cameras near the podium, where the league officials stood alongside both coaches and the school principals. The crowd murmured as the players entered together, speculation running through the room about what was happening. The league commissioner stepped to the microphone. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. As you know, Friday night's championship game between Pine Creek and Westridge was suspended due to a medical emergency involving Westridge player Noah Chen. Initially, the league decided to award a shared championship to both schools, a decision that was accepted by all parties. He paused, looking out at the crowd. However, after further consideration and at the request of both teams, we have reached a different conclusion. A hush fell over the gym as everyone waited for the announcement. The Pine Creek Panthers and Westridge Warriors have jointly decided to dedicate this year's championship to Noah Chen. The trophy will be displayed for 6 months at each school, with a special plaque commemorating the extraordinary events of Friday night's game. There will be no winner declared. Instead, both teams have asked that we recognize something more important than a championship. The moment when a young man chose compassion over competition. The gym erupted in applause. Tyler felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see Diego, tears in his eyes but a smile on his face. It's perfect, Diego said. Noah's going to love it. The commissioner continued once the applause died down. Additionally, both teams have committed to hosting a joint fundraiser to support heart health awareness for young athletes. Tyler Reed, would you like to say a few words about this initiative? Tyler hadn't expected to speak now. He'd been preparing for the state finals, not this impromptu announcement. But as he stepped to the microphone, he found the words coming naturally. What happened Friday night wasn't about me, he began. It was about recognizing that some things are more important than winning. Noah played his heart out for years, never letting anyone know he was dealing with a serious condition. That kind of courage deserves to be honored. He looked out at the crowd, seeing familiar faces from both sides of the river. Our towns have been rivals for as long as anyone can remember. But when it mattered, none of that mattered. We were just people, caring about another person. The fundraiser will help make sure other athletes get the heart screenings they need, so no one else has to go through what Noah is facing right now. Just as he finished speaking, Diego's phone rang. The gym fell silent as Diego answered, listened for a moment, then broke into a wide smile. "He's out of surgery," Diego announced, his voice carrying in the quiet gym. "Everything went well. The doctors say he's going to make a full recovery." A cheer went up from everyone present, Pine Creek and Westridge supporters alike. Tyler felt something loosen in his chest, a tension he hadn't even realized he'd been carrying. The formal ceremony continued, but Tyler barely heard it. All he could think about was Noah, and how close they'd come to a very different outcome. How a split-second decision had changed everything. After the announcement, as people began to disperse, Tyler's father found him in the crowd. "I got a call from State University," his father said, an odd expression on his face. "Their scout was at the game. He wanted to talk to you." Tyler's heart skipped. State was a Division I school, his dream college. "What did he say?" "He said they were already interested in your playing ability, but after what he witnessed Friday night, they're even more interested in your character. They're offering you a full scholarship, Tyler." Tyler stared at his father in disbelief. "Are you serious?" His father nodded, pride shining in his eyes. Sometimes doing the right thing comes with unexpected rewards. Later that evening, Tyler sat alone on the bleachers of the empty gym, trying to process everything that had happened in the past few days. The championship that had consumed his thoughts for months now seemed almost trivial compared to Noah's health, the scholarship offer, and the new connections forming between formerly bitter rivals. He heard footsteps and looked up to see Principal Walsh approaching. "Quite a few days you've had," the principal said. Sitting down beside him, Tyler nodded, still trying to make sense of it all. "You know," Principal Walsh said thoughtfully, "in 27 years of education, I've seen a lot of basketball games, a lot of championships won and lost. But what I saw Friday night and what I've seen since then, the way both schools have come together, that's something truly special." "It doesn't feel real," Tyler admitted. "A week ago, Noah and I couldn't stand each other. Now everyone's calling us some kind of symbol of unity." Principal Walsh chuckled. "That's how change happens sometimes. Not gradually, but all at once when the moment demands it." He stood up, patting Tyler on the shoulder. "By the way, there's someone here to see you." Tyler looked toward the gym entrance where Noah's father stood waiting. He thanked the principal and walked over, curious about what Noah's father wanted. "Noah's asking for you," his father said simply. "He's groggy from the anesthesia, but he's insistent." "Would you mind coming to the hospital?" "Of course not," Tyler replied immediately. The hospital was quieter now, visiting hours nearly over. Noah's father led Tyler to a new room, this one in the recovery wing rather than the ICU. Noah lay in bed, looking pale but peaceful, his mother dozing in a chair beside him. When Tyler entered, Noah's eyes fluttered open. "Hey," he said, his voice raspy. "You came?" "Of course I did," Tyler replied, moving to the bedside. "How do you feel?" "Like I got hit by a truck," Noah said with a weak smile. "But the doctors say I'm fixed now. Some kind of ablation procedure." He yawned. "Sorry, the drugs are making me sleepy." "I should let you rest," Tyler said. Noah shook his head slightly. "Wait, did they do it?" "The announcement?" "Yeah," Tyler told him. "But not what you wanted. No one's taking the championship. We're sharing it in your honor, with a special plaque and everything, and we're doing a fundraiser for heart screenings for athletes." Noah considered this for a moment, then nodded. "I like that better anyway." His eyelids were growing heavy. "Hey, Tyler." "Yeah?" "Remember when we were kids? Before all the rivalry stuff? We used to be friends." Tyler thought back to elementary school, before the competitive nature of sports had turned them against each other. "I remember. We had that secret handshake no one else could figure out." Noah smiled faintly. "We should bring that back." "Definitely," Tyler agreed, though he suspected Noah was too drowsy to really know what he was saying. "Get some rest. I'll come back tomorrow." Noah's eyes had already closed, his breathing deep and regular. Tyler turned to leave, but Noah's father stopped him in the doorway. "The doctors say if he hadn't received help so quickly, the outcome could have been very different," he said quietly. "You gave my son a future. I don't know how we can ever repay that." "You don't need to," Tyler assured him. "Just seeing him recover is enough." As Tyler left the hospital and drove home through the darkening streets of Pine Creek, he found himself taking the route across Willow Bridge again. He stopped in the middle, pulling over to look down at the river that had divided their towns for so long. The water flowed steadily beneath him, the same water that passed by both Pine Creek and Westridge. It didn't change when it crossed some invisible boundary line. It was just water, moving as it always had, connecting rather than dividing. Tyler's phone buzzed with a text from Miguel. "Local news saying you're speaking at state finals." "True?" he typed back. "Yes. Noah and I both are if he's well enough." The reply came quickly. "Together? That'll be something to see." Tyler smiled as he pocketed his phone and climbed back into his truck. Yes, it would be something to see. And it would be just the beginning. The next morning, Tyler walked into school to find the hallways lined with students and teachers from both Pine Creek and Westridge. Instead of the rivalry-fueled tension he was accustomed to, there was something else in the air: respect, gratitude, and a new sense of community that transcended old boundaries. As he made his way through the corridor, people reached out to shake his hand or pat him on the back. Some had tears in their eyes. Others simply nodded in acknowledgement. Tyler recognized faces he'd only seen in passing before, now looking at him like they truly saw him for the first time. His teammates waited by his locker, gathered around something on the wall. As Tyler approached, they parted to reveal a framed photograph, not of him making a winning shot or holding a trophy, but of the moment when he'd knelt beside Noah on the court, their rivalry forgotten in the face of something far more important than basketball. Beneath the photo was a simple caption that said everything that needed to be said. "Some victories transcend the scoreboard." Tyler stared at it for a long moment, then looked around at the faces surrounding him, teammates and rivals, friends old and new. "I guess sometimes," he said quietly, "losing a game means winning something better." Miguel grinned and threw an arm around Tyler's shoulders. "Who said anything about losing? The way I see it, everyone won that night." As Tyler continued through his day, greeted everywhere by smiles and congratulations, he realized Miguel was right. In giving up the winning shot, he hadn't really given up anything at all. Instead, he'd gained something far more valuable: a reminder that at our best, we see each other not as opponents to be defeated, but as fellow humans worthy of compassion and care, and in the end, that was the greatest victory of all.